Wait, top sentence. Right, so let's have a glance at this one. So first of all, just up front, this was a tough one for me to include. The yeah, the level of cognitive dissonance in terms of this one, yeah, wobbled me really good. Because I'm a non-smoker and I'm a proper anti-smoker as well, and I know I shouldn't say that. So using this as a case study, you cannot believe how many times I deleted it and how many times I restarted. But I think in terms of what we do here, sometimes we need to take ourselves out of our comfort zone. And it's also an indication that sometimes technology happens in very strange places. And in terms of that, this is where the strange place took me. And so the reality is this is our case study. And I think last week we spoke about who the smokers are and who the non-smokers are. I think we did do that. Can someone remind me? I think someone said she started smoking in matric and is now a vaping specialist. Okay. We've not discussed the assignment though. Is that correct? Okay, so let's have a glance at it. To also just say, guys, I mean, I have many reasons for struggling with this particular case study. Back in the day, and in some countries, this is made illegal because of the first cigarette being such an awful experience. What smoking companies did is they put menthol, honey, and chocolate into their sort of light cigarettes. So the first drag then isn't as off-putting as having a chocolatey, pleasurable, honey, menthol-induced moment. So all of this, there are reasons for this, that I am an anti-smoker. But innovation takes place everywhere. I also, unfortunately, ended up reading an article last week of popcorn lungs and a teenager at the age of 18 dying of popcorn lungs. And I don't understand it fully, but I get the impression it's like sugar that attaches to your lungs, and that becomes an issue in terms of future breathing. So let's look at the specifics in terms of this case study. Right, I just want to open the slides. I didn't open the slides, apologies. Which all should be in Learning Unit 1, so that makes it a lot easier. Right, so let's look at the innovation strategy. We'll go straight to that. So the first question in terms of where to find it, it's Learning Unit 1, and then where is the strategy? Okay, so here is the innovation strategy. Oh my gosh, sorry, my apologies. Right, you can start there. So it is Learning Unit 1. It is slide, whatever I'm on, 21. And it talks about the three elements of an innovation strategy. So those of you that did strategic management in your third year will recognize these elements. I think it's part of looking for opportunities. It's the realization that you are limited in terms of resources and cash and time, that you cannot follow every single identified opportunity, and then it's making it come to life. So the three stages are important. Now, the reason we adopt a strategy is simply just innovation is incredibly difficult. I think the idea that everyone at some point will have this major aha moment in an organization, that's ridiculous. The truth is, it has to be an active search for opportunities. It has to be an active set of plans in terms of allocating resources to opportunities so that we can maximize in terms of the implementation. So the three steps in the process and the strategy are there. So if we look at the first one, strategic analysis. So it is a simple pestle analysis. So from the bat example, I think we've seen so many changes in terms of smoking laws, etc. Now, somebody did say to me last week that in terms of sin taxes, vaping liquid has gone from 130 to 310 rand, which is a very, very strange thing because this is supposed to be the healthy alternative. Again, with popcorn lungs, I don't know whether I agree with that. So the first bit is to look at those pestle changes. What technologies are out there? What changes in legislation are there, etc., etc., etc. So everything starts with this kind of, let's look at the world externally. Let's look at the macro environment. And then you can also take it a step further and look at the market environment. And I think you guys will know this by now, that the market environment is the industry that we operate within. Sorry, I'm just going to have my cappuccino. So here we can look at who our players in the environment are. What do our customers expect from us? What do our suppliers have available in terms of their own technologies, in terms of their own innovations, in terms of what they can provide to us? And what are our competitors doing? Because the reality is that in industry, there are so many alternatives available nowadays that it becomes part of your strategic analysis. So the pestle factors have to be looked at, and then we have to look at the industry factors as well. The other part, as I said, is we need to look at our own resources, because one of the things that innovation can do is that it can expose you to risk. And you have to make sure that you have the cash available, that you have the skills available, that you have the technology available, that you have the people available to make this innovation a reality. So it's a simple SWOT analysis. So back in the day, you guys would have done this. If we take those there, those translate into your opportunities and threats, and this will translate into your strengths and weaknesses, those things in the internal environment. And then how do we look at innovation? So the first one is the idea of radical breakthroughs. I watched something on CNN today, and it was a CEO talking about how AI will destroy entry-level jobs and how people's careers would be disrupted. So those individuals that leave university, the first job they have is often at that entry level, but AI will be doing that. So how do we train people? How do we capacitate them to move into the next level of work? Because AI will replace it. And we know that AI is going to replace it. We know that, for example, entry-level accounting positions will disappear, entry-level law positions will disappear. So we have to start questioning, why do we do our apprenticeships in the way we do? Why do we do our articles in the way we do? And the articles need a complete rethink as well. The second part, which doesn't apply here, but it is working at the bottom of the pyramid. Anyone remember what the bottom of the pyramid is from third year, if you did Strat with us? What is the bottom? Go for it, Nadia.
I remember bottom of the pyramid, they said that there's a huge untapped market in like the less advantaged countries and demographics where people can actually start developing services and products for these people's unmet needs, but it's basically catering to people's unmet needs who live in like mass poverty, I almost want to say. But
Well,
then they
it
say
is
what's in
that.
yeah, and then what I liked about the Fury is they say if you can invest in that market now, that market is going to become the future middle class anyway, so might as well invest in them now.
Spot on. And I think the key thing in terms of bottom of the pyramid, it is not about exploiting illiterate, unsophisticated people with rubbish you can't sell anywhere. It's about building capacity. So the rule in terms of bottom of the pyramid is that we provide products and services that allow people to break poverty cycles. I read an article showing how tough it is when you live in the poorest of the poor communities to break the cycle of poverty that you're in. Absolutely, Tashila, 100%. And the article said, and it looked at poor people who lived in American ghettos. And I don't even know if it's a term we still use, but the article was a good few years ago, and they still referred to ghettos and people who were the poorest of the poor. And the article essentially, in terms of their findings, said if you take 100 people that live in that particular area, the chances of people breaking that poverty cycle were almost next to nothing. 60% of those individuals that are in the poorest of the poor communities will be at the level of poverty that their parents were. 30% would be worse off than their parents, and only 10% would be able to break that poverty cycle, 10 of the 100. So the idea of, and it's such a dated saying, and none of you would have ever heard this, and maybe if you have, fantastic, but pull yourself up by your bootstraps. It doesn't work, guys. It is a nonsense theory. It's a nonsense platitude that means zero. And I think that's what bottom of the pyramid is about. So the first bit is just doing a SWOT analysis. And in terms of that SWOT analysis, trying to get a sense of what is happening from a pestle perspective, what is happening from an industry, and as well as what do we have available from a resources perspective. Any questions in terms of the first step? And remember, when I ask any questions, it's because I'm taking a big swig of cappuccino. So just step in and help me finish my coffee. Okay. Strategic, guys, strategic. So in terms of that then, guys, I think we talk about this particular innovation map, and it shows us where we can make a difference. So it has the 4 quadrants there. When we look at the first one, the paradigm is the world view. Give me examples of paradigms that have shifted in recent times. Let's just say in the last 20 years, what paradigms have shifted? Because remember, paradigms guide the thinking in terms of what makes the world work at a particular point in time. What paradigms have shifted? Now, obviously, this is a paradigm shift. The idea that not burning tobacco is there is an alternative to that. What paradigms, what other paradigm shifts have we seen in the last 20? Let's make it 30 years. We'll make it easier. Remember, these are mindsets that guide how we look at the world. Go for it, Nadia.
The first thing that popped up to my mind is there's a lot of young people that don't drink as much anymore. I've seen it's so interesting. I've seen there's like more people that are okay with smoking over drinking. And I'm like, both are bad. Absolutely choose your poison. But they actually say a lot of pubs and bars in like first world countries, well, the UK mainly, are starting to struggle with revenue because people don't go out as much anymore because the paradigm is kind of shifting towards, oh, alcohol is actually really unhealthy.
That's an interesting one because I'd rather be drinking than smoking, because alcohol I can sweat out of my system within reason, within reason. Yeah, forecourts, that's an interesting one. I mean, forecourts definitely not for fuel. I mean, the hybrid remote working, guys, one of the biggest paradigm shifts is 20 years ago, if you had to attend this class, you would be sitting in front of me, being taught by me on a whiteboard. Think of it, 20 years ago. You would have been sitting in class with me, staring at me, going, what the hell? Yeah, no, well, I agree with your mom. I absolutely agree with your mom. And yeah, your mom should also stop smoking because she's silly. But I think it's all within reason. It's all within reason because, I come from I'm oversharing again, but my father was an alcoholic and I come from a family of addicts and that addictive gene has skipped me, fortunately. But you can also see what alcohol does to you. I mean, it completely destroys your body, I suppose. But smoking to me is far worse. Yeah. So the other paradigm is 100%, Sheila, there has been a shift, and it's about competencies and defining what a competency is. The idea of the ability to do rather than having the degree, and that ability to do being underpinned by your personality, by your skills, by your qualifications still, because there are still places that require qualifications. The other paradigm, guys, and this is going to sound quite strange, is that a degree isn't enough anymore. An honors soon will not be enough. And I can tell you now, soon, everyone will be expected to have a master's. That's how scary this is. But that's exactly it. I mean, one of the scary things is that New Zealand don't even bother to train their own artisans. They simply just steal our artisans. I mean, there's so many artisans. It's easier for an artisan to get into New Zealand than it is for formally qualified people. And yes, doctors and those people will still get into New Zealand on a worker basis. Other shifts in paradigms, that you need petrol and diesel to make a vehicle run. I never believed that electric is the future. But that's 100% the way it should be, Nadia. That is 100%. Well, yeah. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's standard 7. Yeah, I'm just counting. The 9th grade. Yeah. I mean, there is absolutely nothing that is available to you. So the other paradigm shift, that you need petrol and diesel to make cars run. And if we look at what electric vehicles are doing at the moment, and yeah, how long those batteries last, I mispredicted that. I predicted that the future was hydrogen and not batteries. Other shifts in paradigms, I think we get a sense of these shifts in paradigms. I mean, but 20 years ago, guys, we would not be doing this. We would not be doing this. It is very scary. You would have had to go and sit in some person's class and obviously not be exposed to the best. I'm talking about myself there. Oh, yeah, no. Well, we see that, Sheila. I think when you're in a high-tech type environment, it's become impossible for one single company to track every aspect of tech development. So in terms of, and I'm so sorry to default to this, but in terms of motor vehicles, people share technology, people share innovations, because you cannot be the company that tracks absolutely and advances in every single bit of technology. So it is an innovative sharing process, a collaborative process. And it also gives us, in terms of cars, these incestuous vehicles. When you buy a C-Class Mercedes-Benz, the engine, in particular the four-cylinder ones, is a Renault engine, and one of my students argued today that the Lamborghini, and I'm going to mispronounce it, is it the Urus, the 4x4, is nothing but a Volkswagen. And at some level, he is right, because a Lamborghini is owned by Audi, Audi is owned by Volkswagen, and the Urus has the TFSI technology that appear in VWs. Urus, thank you so much, Neil. Okay, lots of shifts in terms of how we do business. And another paradigm, guys, the fact that you don't have to go to a store anymore to buy groceries. You can have groceries delivered. It's these kinds of paradigm shifts all the time. In terms of the article, what is the paradigm shift there? What is the paradigm shift? Go Maveshan. Shift is you don't have to burn tobacco to enjoy getting whatever the heck is you get into your system. You get nicotine into your system. Scary, actually. The other part, guys, now remember, it can be incremental or it can be radical. An example of an incremental approach. and a radical approach. Let's combine it. When we took, oh my gosh, you guys won't even remember this. I just realized you guys are so incredibly young that what I'm going to draw now, and get excited because it's art time again. Hold on a second. I just opening paint. You cannot believe how excited I am right now just to express myself again. Who remembers the old box TVs? Oh, I love embarrassing myself. Who remembers the old box TVs where the back of the TV was that and then the front was this?
That
And
was
then
our stuff, Doc.
is it? Yeah, no, Monday, I think
It's
I'm a lot
Monday.
older than you, bud. But yes,
But
that was
but that was our stuff.
yeah, that was it. And remember, it had some sort of, I don't know, electron. Go away, Nadia. Yeah, we had a big screen one. You needed a crane to move the thing. It weighed so much. I mean, Panasonic version, I can't even remember what we had, but we had a big screen one. And it was, I mean, when I now have a, I don't know, I think it's an 80-inch TV, which is this, yeah, this massive thing in my lounge. Back then, a big screen, I don't even think it got to 40 inches. Oh yeah, no, guys, I'm clearly compensating for something with this big TV. Oh yeah, and the youngest kid was the remote. Yeah, I forgot about that. Oh gosh, yes, the remote person. Yeah, no, well, I started off with black and white, so okay. So remember, I think they called it a CRT, and you shot electrons, and then it had different colors and abracadabra. And then we had the shift, guys, remember, into the first LCD TV. Yeah, I know. People were evil. Then you had the first LCD, and then we had LED, and now you have the other iterations of that, guys. I mean, now a big screen TV. I mean, I paid the same for this massive TV as I did for a Sony. I don't know what was the biggest screen back then in 2007 or something, and also how prices have come down. So the shift from that to that was radical. But then it was LED, and it's been small. And then it was the 4K and the 8K, etc. Oh my gosh, the bunny aerial. I forgot about a bunny aerial. Vivation, there will be some people here that will not know what a bunny aerial is. They'll think it's something in Playboy. Who doesn't know what a bunny aerial is? And no, it's not something in Playboy. I love how some of you know what Playboy is as well. Interesting, though. I'm being recorded. Oh, my word, simulcast. I forgot about simulcast, Neil. I forgot. Oh, dear Lord. Yes. Oh, my word. And now we have set dishes. Oh, my. No, we don't. It's delivered via streaming. Okay, but we see the changes, guys. Oh my gosh, I remember to get the signal, and there was always one person that had enough energy that could pick it up anywhere. Oh my gosh, yeah, absolutely. So in terms of that, I think we've seen products and services change as well, and then processes. I think what has been the most significant change in process? Most significant change in process. For me, it's to move from labor intensive and then to robotics. And now from robotics to AI robotics, where, yeah, essentially, yeah, and mass customization as well. I mean, we've seen significant examples of that. And then in terms of the position that you adopt in a particular industry. Yeah, absolutely, Maveshan. Absolutely. I mean, dashboards, but and all of that, and including AIs as well. Yeah, I'm sorry. What am I doing? So, and then possession, where do we actually sell our products and services? Think of now, again, can I just ask, is anyone above 50 in class? And there's nothing wrong with being above 50. Who are the over 50s? Oh my word, you guys irritate me. So no one's above 50. Anyone over 40? Anyone over 40? One. Mondley 46. You're a baby, Mondley. Tashila over 40. Oh my word. This is scary. Okay, over 30. Please tell me there's some people over 30. And then, yeah, over 20, and it'll be most of you. I can't even ask this question because it's not worth asking, because it's you just hit 30. Oh my word. Yeah. Yeah. You know, when your teacher is more than double your age. 30. Oh my word. Well, my son hits 30 next year and is having a major midlife crisis. So I'll get some advice from you how to avoid a midlife crisis at 30 for him. But think of what you spend money on now versus what you would have spent money on and what your parents would have spent money on 20 years ago. I think one of our biggest costs is connectivity. One of our biggest costs is always going to be connectivity, something that didn't exist 30 years ago. So in terms of possession, it's also where we then spend our money. So in terms of those four, the first one, what products and services we offer. What products and services we offer. If we think of Netflix, and someone mentioned Netflix earlier, as someone mentioned Netflix earlier, who initially had a video delivery service. So you could order a box of videos, they drop it off, and they would collect it from you, to what they are now in terms of products and services. Now, that is radical in terms of change. And then how we create it, whether it's labor intensive or whether it is based around technology and automation, and then the context where we introduce our products and services. I think the reality is doing lectures online changed the context, because in the past, the context would have been, you would have been sitting in a classroom with me in front of you, writing on a whiteboard. And yeah, oh gosh, no, I'm not even going to tell you that I started teaching with slides. At least I'm on PowerPoint now. And then the paradigm, those mental models. So in terms of those guys, I think you'll find that the case study might not tick each of those boxes, but it certainly ticks some of those boxes, okay? And then just you can have a glance here. Products that we offer, and I'm particularly moving towards that. The idea of Tesla and Toyota Prius, the hybrid and the electric vehicle, and also where Tesla is in the world now, and no one wanting Tesla anymore, because you've got BYD and you've got RIMAC, which is Art in Motion. CDs replacing vinyl records, yet people still having vinyl records. Can I also just say, guys, and I hate doing this, but I changed my thing, because I honestly, with all the changes, and this is not what you want to hear from your lecturer who's teaching you innovation, because he's supposed to be cutting edge and ahead of the curve, is to read that. Because I've had a couple of real wobbles in recent times where I realized I might be dated property. And I think that explained or described me pretty well. In terms of product, we've got that. In terms of process, yeah, and you can see there, guys, it's everything. It's how we deliver, how we create, etc. And you can see the differences there. I mean, including that online banking and the other bits that are available, and banking systems that have changed as well. We will look at these in detail when we get there again. And then also your position, yeah, Haagen-Dazs, the change of focus in terms of the ice creams, a slight illicit sense to it. And you can see the others there. And you can also look at undeserved markets. I'm not going to go through that. I mean, I think that's not important right now. That's for later. And the mindset that guides it. Once we've got that kind of process sorted in terms of those 4 Ps and in terms of pestle, in terms of the industry issues, we then look at our strategic selection. Guys, I think when you look at innovations, in particular innovations in a world driven by digital technology, what limits your ability to create is your imagination. Let me say that again. The only thing that limits your ability to innovate and create is your imagination. Because digital technology, AI added into it, I think you could almost build anything. Any comments on my suggestion that the only thing that limits innovation is your own limitations, is your own creativity? The only thing that limits innovation is your creativity. And if you want to stretch beyond your own creativity, go watch movies. Go see what they have in movies, because movies, yeah, well, Skynet is coming for us, guys. You're also mentioning one of my favorite movie franchises ever, although we've got a Skynet here that's a delivery service. Absolutely, Neil, 100%. And can I also just say, a lot of it appeared in movies first. A lot of it appeared in movies first. So if you want to see the future, watch the movies. I mean, give me examples of movies that gave us new technologies. Driverless vehicles, so many movies, future-based movies have had driverless vehicles. I hope I haven't discussed this, and if I have, I apologize. What is it called? I can't remember what it's called now. Okay, let me just cheat with the competition. Virgin Pod, I think it should show us that. Where is that? Now can't remember what it is. Okay, no, I can't remember. My brain is a little not where I need to be. Well, we have got flying cars, Nadia. We've got flying Ubers. And so they definitely are on their way. Yeah, no, not our kinds of taxis. Oh dear Lord, help us. But this is real. Air taxis. They definitely are here, and it's often in terms of high traffic areas when you need to go somewhere. So it's not a helicopter. A lot of these can, in fact, fly themselves, although there's still some questions about people accepting that. Yeah, so it's not far away. It really is not far away. Yeah, you'll see.
I wasn't sure. Yeah, man.
Let people know on the group.
Hi everyone, I just got a message from Doc saying that his laptop has just died and he has no way to put it on again. So I think let's give it a couple minutes, but I don't think he's going to return possibly.
So how long should we wait?
I'm probably going to stay on till the end of the session anyway, just in case, but if anything changes, I'll let you guys know here too. Okay, it looks like Doc said he is going to finish the recording and then let us know once that's done, once he's online again. So it looks like we can probably end this session if everyone's okay with that.